Most people think desire gives life direction. In reality, it adds weight. Every want introduces tension. Every expectation introduces pressure. Every craving adds mental noise. The mind is rarely exhausted by effort. It is exhausted by wanting. Notice how often attention reaches forward, toward what could be easier, more comfortable, more impressive, more secure. This reaching does not rest. The moment one desire is satisfied, another takes its place. Refined, adjusted, never complete. This is why contentment feels brief, not because life lacks value, but because wanting never stabilizes. Wanting trains the mind to experience the present as insufficient, not wrong, just not enough. This creates a low-grade disturbance. Restlessness without cause, urgency without necessity. Most people normalize this state. They call it ambition, drive, motivation. But observe the cost. The more the mind wants, the less steady it becomes. Attention fragments, patience shortens, calm turns conditional. This is the unseen price of excess desire. You are not unsettled by what you lack. You are unsettled by how much you want. The Stoics understood this clearly. Before control can strengthen, wanting must be reduced, not eliminated, retrained. A mind that wants less demands less reassurance, less comparison, less comfort, and because it demands less, it is harder to disturb. If stability feels fragile in your life, the issue is not discipline or effort. It is unmanaged wanting. In the next phase, we will examine how wanting multiplies weakness and why the first move toward strength is not adding more, but subtracting desire. Wanting weakens the mind not through intensity, but through accumulation. Each desire adds a condition. Each condition adds reliance. The mind begins to function on requirements. I need this to feel settled. I need that to feel secure. Calm becomes conditional. This is the mechanism. As wanting increases, attention is pulled outward. The mind scans constantly. What is missing? What is delayed? What could be improved? This scanning destabilizes focus. Instead of directing attention, the mind reacts to absence. Absence creates pressure. Pressure seeks resolution. Resolution becomes pursuit. The mind stops centering. It chases relief. This is why excess wanting produces restlessness, not because the desires are excessive, but because they fracture attention. One want pulls here, another pulls there. Energy spreads thin, judgment softens, impulse gains influence. A mind crowded with wants cannot hold firm standards. Standards require stillness. Wanting creates motion. As wanting multiplies, tolerance for delay shrinks. Waiting begins to feel like failure. Delay feels like loss. This is how resilience erodes. You are no longer training endurance. You are training urgency. The Stoics were precise here. Strength does not come from acquiring more. It comes from requiring less. As requirements expand, freedom contracts, not outwardly, internally. This is why discipline weakens in a mind overloaded with wants. Before behavior can stabilize, desire must be reduced, not suppressed, reordered. In the next phase, we will reframe desire itself and show how to retrain the mind to want less without force. Reducing desire is not withdrawal from life, it is correction of priority. Most people assume wanting less requires force. It does not. It requires accuracy. Desire becomes heavy when it is misclassified as necessity. The Stoic correction is exact. You separate preference from requirement. Something may be preferred. It is not required for stability. This distinction reorders the mind. When preference is treated as need, tension forms. When need is identified correctly, calm returns. The internal language changes. You stop telling yourself, "I must have this." You begin saying, "I can proceed without this." That shift restores authority. Desire no longer issues demands. Judgment resumes command. You are not suppressing want. You are repositioning it. From this position, urgency fades. Delay no longer threatens. Absence no longer feels like loss, because stability is no longer at risk. This is how desire is reduced, without resistance. You allow desire to exist without letting it decide. With repetition, the system adapts. Craving softens, the mind quiets. Freedom increases as requirements decrease. In the next phase, we will apply this correction in real situations and show how to practice wanting less without withdrawal or denial. Wanting less is practiced at the moment of impulse, not in theory. A desire appears, a preference surfaces, an urge presents itself. This is the point of control. Do not debate the desire. Do not satisfy it immediately. Reclassify it. Ask one question: is this a requirement or a preference? That distinction restores order. If it is a preference, urgency drops. Delay becomes acceptable. Absence becomes tolerable. You do not deny the desire. You place it under judgment. This placement reduces pressure at once. The body settles. The pull weakens. Nothing dramatic occurs. That is the indicator. You are training the mind to remain stable without fulfillment. With repetition, baseline changes. Desire still arises, but fewer desires are promoted to needs. The mind stops demanding constant comfort, reassurance, or stimulation. This is how resilience forms. You become harder to unsettle because less is required for stability. Wanting less is not deprivation. It is strength through reduction. In the final phase, we will integrate this discipline into identity and close the loop between desire, stability, and sustained self-command. At this stage, wanting less must become a position, not something you practice occasionally, something you operate from. You are no longer someone who reduces desire. You are someone who requires less. This changes everything. Fewer requirements mean fewer pressures. Fewer pressures mean steadier judgment. Steadier judgment means control. Desire still appears. Preference still exists. But neither defines your state. You decide what is necessary. And necessity is narrow. Because it is narrow, it is stable. This is how calm becomes durable. Not by gaining more, but by needing less. You are not depriving yourself. You are removing excess demand. And excess demand is what weakens the mind. When wanting is reduced, comfort loses authority. Comparison loses urgency. Validation loses leverage. Control consolidates. If this perspective shifted how you relate to desire, note that clarity. If this training continues to strengthen your inner position, remain with it. In the next video, we will examine why comfort weakens the mind and how dependence on ease slowly erodes strength.